So lots of options out there, and there's some of the ideas about it. And I think that if you think of your career, we used to call this wearing many hats, or we called it moonlighting, which was really a dirty word, moonlighting. Because moonlighting, you sort of had that oh, I'm gonna, shovel manure. Nobody should find out about it just to make some money. Or a patchwork quilt. But really the more modern word is this slash, one after another. It used to be, when you went looking for a career, it was either or. I'll either be a doctor or
Entomologist.
whatever. And that's kind of a traditional way to look at things. I'm either going to do this or that, and that's it. My feeling is you can be more than that. You can do all of these different things. You can be both. And. And you can see that, and I'm evidence of that. And it works well because it feeds my passion, it feeds my creative spirit, it feeds my restlessness, all of those things. All of those things. And as I said at the beginning, everybody already leads a slash. Everybody already does. You're a student, you're a part-time worker. You're a parent, you're a Sunday school teacher. But here I like to introduce this concept of work/life. I don't really differentiate between the two. Many people who maybe have a job that they absolutely hate separate their life and their work. They go and they flip their burgers, and then they go out and do the things that they really like to do. I disagree with that whole notion about maybe in the flipping burgers thing. I could agree with that. I wouldn't want to bring that one home. But we all lead that /work/life. And so here's kind of the rundown of what I think slash careers require and also give to you. First, they feed your passion. And a lot of people throw this word around. Oh, you gotta have great passion. You gotta have great passion. And they look at passion sometimes as an outlet, and I sometimes look at it as an inlet. That the things you do actually feed and keep that fire burning and allow you to move forward and move forward. So being able to do a couple of different things can really keep that fire moving inside of you. This is self-employment for the arts, and by its very nature, most slash careers are entrepreneurial. They require to run your career as a business. And that includes even if you do have full or part-time work in a traditional sense. You should run that career as a business. And I think so many people don't. They just collect the check. And they don't look for bigger and bolder things to promote themselves over all the things that people do to run a business. Promotion, marketing, branding, all that stuff you should do with your life, with you, wherever you're at. You're looking to move forward. And so having an entrepreneurial sense, that get up and go, that self-starter, whatever cliche you want to use, is the way to go. Absolutely. Slash careers is a juggling act. They demand that you be very flexible. And that, to me, is one of the main attractions of a slash career, is I don't have to do the same thing every day. I told you I'm a geek. I'm an audio guy. I spend a lot of time in a dark edit suite by myself. Teaching, for me, is the complete antithesis of that. I'm not very social when I'm working at my desk. I write. That's a solitary job. You go into your writing room, you open up a vein, and you bleed all over the page. That's what writing is. Or you wait until beads of sweat fall on your forehead. But it's a very solitary task, and I love that, because I am somewhat of a solitary person that way. But for me, teaching allows me to be social and to do these kinds of things. So that's what I'm talking about, flexibility, that you can be more than one person in that way. And it does require this juggling act of different jobs and really of your life in general, making time for the things that you want to do. Now, many people say you should always separate your work life from your career, and I disagree with that. That is absolutely not the way to go. That's what causes problems. What makes it work is when it all works, where there's no distinction between work and life. Absolutely. And some people can't come to terms with it. They got to leave the work behind. I'm not saying you don't do that from time to time. Everybody needs to recharge in that. But often when it doesn't feel like work, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. And I love the fact that I can have dinner with my family and still go down into my studio and work for a little while. And when my son was younger, before school, I had lunch with him virtually every day. And I think that's great, to be able to do that. But it's difficult. Most slash careers tend to grow from one into another. So I started out as a writer, but then sort of grew into writer, which is, in a nonfiction standpoint, is training, really, only with the written word. And so that became training live, and that became teaching and things like that. And so they just sort of feed one another a little bit. And if you look that circuit some way, that's the way to kind of look at the career. I want to get here, but it might take me a few steps to get there. You know, nobody publishes a book having never written, generally. Okay? But you write some articles, maybe you get a blog going, now you got a track record, that attracts, and that kind of stuff, and we'll talk about that more as we move along. You may lose a slash from time to time, or even add one because something just comes out of nowhere. Like, I'll just use the teaching one again. I had never set out to be a teacher, have no teaching training. But I had something that I could share and a desire to do so. So sometimes you add them. Sometimes you just don't do something anymore. I used to do a lot more advertising and graphic design and stuff like that for clients. It was just sort of part of the whole communications package that I was offering people, from video production and audio production and things like that. I didn't really do too much of it. Myself, I always hired people out. I did like doing the creative, coming up with the ideas, but I didn't actually do the graphic design work or anything like that. And I just frankly got tired of doing it. It just wasn't very fulfilling. I found other avenues, and so bye-bye. And I have never regretted that one. They do change over time, absolutely. When a child is first born, you are a parent. Everything revolves around that little bundle of joy, because they can do nothing for themselves, right? Everything, changing, feeding, everything. But as they get a little older, you're not as much of a parent. You're still a parent, don't get me wrong, you're still involved in their lives. But I don't have to pick out my son's clothes or, deal with his toilet, wash his face, all those things like that anymore. So you're not as big of a parent. So they change over time. And they grow, and they morph, and that's cool. That's what makes it good.